spoken about returning more to normalcy, basically, with their picks and bans. One of the things they attributed their mid-season dip to was trying too many different, flavor picks or surprise picks at the same time. I think they still have a lot of, decent pocket picks and decent surprise picks left in them. However, maybe not all at the same time there. We don't see the mid-Jarvan with the Mordekaiser and Blitzcrank all at the same time.
It'll be interesting to track throughout the series if and when they do bring that out. Do they bring it out at the start? Is it something pre-planned, or is it something reactive when they fall behind?
Well, already have something a little different here. Shen, Camille, and Kennen. Actually, the bans there for FlyQuest with Maldahar and Graves on the Counterlogic Gaming side, with one more to come.
I mean, that does look like it's a triple ban towards Darshan. We know Kennen can go AD carry, but traditionally it's not played in that role.
Yeah, I think FlyQuest are focusing on that lane like many others are. And you can see CLG answering a little bit in kind there with the Nautilus ban. Premier Tank, Balls has been great. He even got solo kills as a Nautilus, which is pretty much unheard of.
And one of the things I like about taking the Nautilus off the table and leaving up something like the Maokai, Balls can still pick it, but it's a very weak laning tank. And if you can take away something like even the Gragas here for Smithy or something like that, then you've taken away almost all the strong laning tanks that you can look to exploit Balls.
Well, it does leave open Lulu, which is FlyQuest's first pick here, but the answer is Rengar in the jungle there for CLG, and maybe a top laner to come to, again, continue to sort of pinch the top lane early on. Poppy could be the consideration here for Darshan, but lots of options open if they want to take a top laner right now.
Darshan is definitely a player that has played Poppy a lot, and you will remember even years back when that was his kind of go-to tank for team fighting, but no reason to really go for that super early here with the Ashe up, and Stixxay actually will be piloting that. Some initiation to go along with a fairly controversial Rengar pick for Smithy.
I mean, he has been having some better games recently, finally on that. And the Ashe is interesting because, it's so highly prioritized by Stixxay. It's actually his most played AD carry this season, whereas Altec has only played it a couple games.
Well, you can see FlyQuest answer with Kha'Zix as the jungle matchup and Rumble there, so really setting up the top lane, but Fizz is the answer for Darshan. I like where this is going already.
Yeah, instant answer here for Darshan, and you can tell they are going to try and go for more of that split pushing, spread out the map, pressure multiple points at once, and then try and get picks with the Ashe Arrow and Rengar combination. FlyQuest, though, as far as that top lane pick, Balls on the Rumble, that's been his best DPS champion for the top lane. Not necessarily a split pusher, but definitely will bring more of that team fight damage.
One thing I do like about the Fizz here also is that when the other solo lane has not been locked in, you do not for sure know that this is going top lane. It is certainly the most likely, but we've seen people play AP Fizz mid lane throughout the LCS split, and Hui is certainly someone who can bring that out if it does seem appropriate.
Well, we'll see what happens here. CLG ban away Talon, so targeting high there for their first ban. Support Zyra banned away from FlyQuest, and there's the Zed, so those two big high assassins already taken away.
Yeah, actually taking out the flavor picks there for high. When he has had his assassins banned away, it's been the Orianna and the Syndra for him. If they're going with the FlyQuest more standard approach to that 5-on-5 composition, those are the picks that we'll probably see from FlyQuest.
And another great thing about targeting these assassins, they're both AD assassins, right? With the Rumble picked in the top lane, it opens up more ability to play physical damage mid laners.
Yeah, that's true, but I mean, with Kha'Zix already locked in, plus an AD carry, I feel like FlyQuest would be fine with going with, double AP solo laners. We shall see, though. Stixxay's classic hover over the Warwick. Favorite champion even before the rework.
Vlad was the last ban there for FlyQuest, so that's an option not available to them. I expect Orianna here, but they're actually going to save Nami. And to your point before, I think Syndra and Ori are the next default tier for high. One of the cute things about Fizz is that if he wants to play mid, it's actually pretty good into Syndra. So you kind of block that by flexing Fizz as well.
Definitely curious, and we'll have to wait till the last pick to find out if it is indeed flexed.
Something I love about Nami here is it's kind of emphasizing the strengths of CLG. They know that their laning is stronger than their opponents. Nami, in my opinion, is one of the very strongest laning supports. I do think it outlanes something like Karma. And they should have an advantage. They should have strong push and be able to get an edge there.
Nice safe Ezreal pick there for FlyQuest, and there's the Orianna we expected for high. So, I mean, CLG would have been happy to have it, but they've likely got a counter pick prepared here as well. Leaving Hui with that last pick, Aurelion Sol would be okay, but again, lots of options for Hui, who's a player that not only steps up during playoffs, but he's got deep pockets as far as champion picks go.
There's the #1 pocket pick for Hui and CLG. We'll see, though, if they want to go with the roaming.
They do.
All right, and that really does play into that thing that I mentioned before. When you see the first 3 picks of the Ashe, Rengar, Fizz, you're thinking spread out the map, 1-3-1, look for the picks with the arrow and the Rengar ultimate. Aurelion Sol just gets that game plan off the ground super quickly.
It really does, and it can help to really snowball someone like the Fizz, who if Fizz gets ahead of the Rumble in the 1v1 matchup, that can go very badly. If you see Aurelion Sol getting up there, Rengar getting up there, and putting him in that position to split push.
Meanwhile, on the FlyQuest side, Lulu, no slouch as far as supports go, and there's a reason that they picked that so early on. The 5-on-5 team fighting, FlyQuest will be looking, for more of that standard approach and more of, trying to force those confrontations where they can bring all their members to front rather than being spread out.
And with so much AoE magic damage that they have from the Rumble, from the Orianna, if you set up that proper team fight, you can be exceptionally powerful.
Especially in jungle corridors, so, invades on buffs or, fighting for the Drake may be where FlyQuest try and direct the game.
Well, coaches are going to shake hands. Think are going to make his way in. I think pretty standard.
They can wait for it.
Pretty standard draft to start the things up, but I think it does exemplify the styles of these teams. Well, CLG happy to play across the map a little more, and FlyQuest, they've got a nice scrappy comp to play with.
Yeah, those coaches are very well acquainted. ThinkCard actually, long time on CLG within the staff as well. A lot of the players on these teams actually have very long relationships with each other and the LCS itself.
I mean, you don't get 8 LCS champions between 2 teams that haven't been around for quite a while, so FlyQuest versus CLG should be a doozy. So we're going to move ourselves into game 1 shortly. And I think this series is going to have a lot of fun to offer here. Hard to call exactly who's going to come out on top, but it's going to start here in game number 1. Our second spring quarterfinal playoff match starts right now.
It's going to be such an exciting game. I think that both of these compositions are very explosive. If either side falls too far behind, there's not much of a true front line. And I mean, for a team like FlyQuest, where you have all squishy members, there's no one to soak something like a Fizz ult, the Rengar ult, all this damage flying in. If it hits anyone, you can pick someone off.
Definitely true. Pretty much the only defenses they have to rely upon are the support moves from the Orianna and from the Lulu. So they'll try and buff up whoever is the target of that, CLG focus. That would require them all being next to each other, though, and we shall see if that is the way the game goes.
Well, it looks like level 1 just kind of spreading out now. Lots of defensive positioning so far. Do you want to point out quickly to the summoner spells in mid lane, actually? We've started seeing Cleanse in particular matchup. Huhi going with Exhaust, which feels a bit more standard, but Cleanse is, I think, a pretty good option against Aurelion Sol.
I think it is, and especially when you're pairing up against an Ashe, you really have to be careful about that. But it does give Huhi the edge because his combat summoner is going to be more powerful in most of these sort of 1v1 matchups.
That being said, people have been very, very happy with Hai's performance on that Orianna. One of the highlight, intro plays we had was his pentakill on the champion. So keep your eye on the ball as you get later and later into the game.
I see what you did there.
Well, we're going to start up here in mid lane. Who are going to start pushing in? Aurelion Sol. It's been a short while, but aggressive trading for both of them, actually. Just trying to get an edge in that early lane.
Yeah, no surprise there. Both these mid laners like to trade aggressively. Both of them like to roam quite frequently. And even though Hai is on a champion like Orianna, he's definitely going to be unafraid from taking that trade. Huhi level 1 going to find the jungler, though.
And I also love that he's actually just going into Fog there, because level 1, you would not normally worry about any sort of roams. We've actually seen Huhi pull off level 1 First Bloods roaming on the Aurelion Sol.
At Worlds!
Exactly. So when he goes missing, you have to worry, and you have to play differently because of it.
And you can see it doesn't really cost him much to be able to push the lane in and kind of get things going. Looking a little low on mana, but Hai is going to have to keep the way back in, and Hui's going to dip out already. So both these mid laners do love to roam as well. That's one of the signatures of their play. We'll see if either of them can kind of contain the other in lane or leave lane more aggressively. And I'm expecting Aurelion Sol to do that a little more often.
Yeah, and how much respect they pay to the junglers. Specifically for FlyQuest, most of their carry games, the big carries, have come from Moon and Hai working together. It's this mid-jungle combination that are actually grouping up quite quickly.
Well, good call there. Moon's going to come in. Hui low on mana. Hai's going to start things off. Hui running around the other side. He does have his flash and exhaust, but he's got to keep running. Might be far enough away from Moon. Moon's going to leap in, going to force a flash. Hui over the wall safely.
Definitely a crucial flash, as Aurelion Sol, you can already talk about, he likes to shove the lane, then get into roaming, then it becomes even more scary to go for those, shoving style early plays if he doesn't have his flash now, and they have to ward up to watch out for Moon's return ganks.
I also think that was such a smart gank because Ball's got a deep ward, saw that the Krugs were down. They know which path Smithy has done and that he would have to base. So there's no chance of him being there for a counter gank.
Definitely one of the reasons where you can make your decision to chase the mid laner to the side of the lane. Basically, a lot of times when you gank mid lane and the mid laner goes over to that side brush at the river, you kind of have to back off because you're scared of a counter gank waiting in that brush or something. Moon, though, up to that level 4 very quickly, even though he was the one to go for the first gank. Only thing is he hasn't had his back yet, so just the single jungle item. Definitely doesn't hurt Kha'Zix at all, though. Blue buff is plenty of mana for him.
Who are you thinking about top lane, but it looks like he might hit the recall button instead.
Yeah, and he actually just used his flight. I'm not sure if that was an accident, but using it right there means he's not going to have it to get back to lane as quickly. And since it is a minute cooldown, that's actually relatively impactful. This
yeah, it looked to me like he was changing his decision, originally just going back to lane to farm that one extra wave High is pushing in, then decides to go for the recall here for his boots.
Just relaxing though, going to keep the wave relatively far back. Now going to push it in as the cannon creep moves forward, and again, it's probably called Huhi off the map. High though, going to ward the Raptors, continue to get vision, and I will say FlyQuest has done an excellent job tracking Xmithy in this early game.
Definitely true, and he'll be tracked once again as he starts up on the Raptor camp. We'll see if they can actually capitalize on the flashless mid laner, though. High trying to trade aggressively here, but the extra boots that Huhi recalled there give him extra move speed to dodge the Orianna damage. And he gets out pretty well in that trade. All the while, Smithy, his main goal seems to be just pure farming up to that level 6.
Yeah, and when he hits 6, there's a lot of ability to go for a gank on something like the Rumble with the Fizz ultimate for gank assist. But one of the coolest parts about Aurelion Sol is that move speed is essentially combat power because it's positioning to place your orbs in a way that you're always hitting with it. That is why move speed is so important on the champion.
Another ward spotted there by Moon, going to take that down, but Huhi looking bottom lane. Might try and get something done here.
A couple of pings are going down here from CLG.
Oh, here he comes to hit the bubble.
Good bubble there. Lemonation could be in trouble. Huhi going to roam his way down. Lemonation! It's going to be first blood there. Goes over to Huhi. Looks for Arctic for the next stun. Doesn't find it, but CLG on the board.
Meanwhile, FlyQuest seem to be making a move up top with Moon going for the invade on the other side. All the camps are down, though, so he can't counter jungle anything, and all he can do is leave behind a control ward.
Yeah, so not able to get too much done. And despite the fact they know who he is constantly trying for this, he's always threatening it. You don't know which one is a true roam, which one is just him faking it out.
Also, he's gone to both sides of the river very, very frequently here. So it's kind of that poker game where you're calling this bluff. When do you actually think it is a full commitment to the roam? And CLG do get rewarded there with that first blood on the bottom side. You have to say, though, all credit due to Afromove for starting that off with a bubble.
So this is super aggressive, though. They actually have no TP on Darshan, and Balls has his available, starting up that Infernal.
But they timed it because of the recall there from High, and it looks like no vision in that river. They knew that since Huhi's roam bottom was so successful, there was no wards in the river, so they didn't even have to sweep everything out, just bring that one control ward and able to jump onto that. So CLG off to a very quick start. And Afromove, here's that bubble I was talking about.
Yeah, and sets it up so well. Nailing that essentially means Elimination's dead to rights. That's why he doesn't blow any of his summoners. He knows he's gone and does save that, so at least not going to be as easy of a return game.
Big power play there from CLG, taking that Infernal Drake despite the lane teleport there from Darshan. So really taking advantage of kind of a lot of how they were playing the early game in the map. And this is the CLG that we kind of expect to show up, especially during playoffs. They understand when they have to play back, when they can afford to be a bit more aggressive, and they've got so many gears and such a versatile team, they'll almost always make the right call based on the situation.
Yes, the frustrating reasons why we see so many teams ban out, or used to ban out, the Aurelion Sol versus Huhi. He shows that he still has it. We'll see if FlyQuest can show their strengths, though, as Moon now level 6 on the Kha'Zix. And you do have to watch out for him. He is a delivery system. Not the best, but can get a shockwave where they're intended.
And unfortunately for them, I mean, Huhi's flash is just about back up. So they've kind of missed their window from that summoner being forced by Moon. And now Rengar is 6. He can look to set up a play. And I think doing it in combination with Darshan on this Fizz with his ultimate is the way to go.
Yeah, it's kind of time for the torch to pass as far as the roaming here from Huhi over to Smithy.
He's back, great arrow to Aldex.
Nice.
I'm going to land in. Oh, he's going to flash up Elimination. It's a bubble again. Oh, the up from Huhi's going to get the kill.
Mid laner ganks gotten off 2. Jungler ganks gotten off 0. We'll see if they actually have Smithy focus on the top side, though. That's where he is now, and he does have Rengar Ultimate available. Half-Life, though, is definitely going to dissuade you from going after a Rumble. A lot of junglers have nightmares about going for ganks on Rumble, getting 2v1'd and burned down with that AoE, so definitely going to want to have more health if you go for that.
It can be brutal. You know, Darius is another one I've always been scared of, but a lot of credit to CLG to time this roam from Hui just as CLG is hitting level 6 on their bot lane. So they have the Ash Arrow available, immediately execute on it.
And funneling into one of those kind of win conditions we talked about for CLG, where they focus on getting Stixxay up to his strong team fighting stage of the game.
See Moon also hiding in the brush there. Tried a lane gank here in the top lane, but Balls already pushing that lane back in. Seen a lot of push and pull there in the lane. And in general, FlyQuest, they were pushing all of their lanes pretty early on, but unfortunately for them, haven't been able to really leave the lanes and get ganks off. And that just means every time Hui leaves and CLG do something successfully, they're just getting further ahead.
They really are. And now that Rengar is 6 and hasn't used his ultimate, you have to be so scared anytime you are pushing it up because Rengar is one of the best junglers in the game at lane ganks.
Yeah, after the second time you die to an Aurelion Sol roam, definitely got to be super scared and a little bit more caution. Maybe on the bottom side for FlyQuest.
Something maybe set up here though. High attempt to get caught in transition.
They were spotted out though as they walked over a ward up there, so High thinks that they are there.
Does scout them out, going to find the control ward as well, so should be able to take that one down. Blue buff there for Orianna, though Smithy going to leap in onto Moon. Ball there from High, going to zone them back out, moving the ball to threaten any CLG aggression.
Definitely a significant chunk. Now keep your eyes on a couple of FlyQuest power spikes though. Balls has all that flat spell penetration from the top side, and although Fizz will build into this super big split pushing threat, the Rumble right now is such a powerhouse if he's able to join a fight. High starting it off.
Yeah, he wanted those. Got the cleanse. Doesn't use it just yet. He's waiting for Balls to get down here. Hui, though, has got his summoners up, so this could maybe turn around the wrong way. Hui, bought the much already. Equalizer doesn't quite cut it. Hui going to get away.
He did not realize he flashed over the wall. He was out of vision there, I guess, and just guessed wrong, but...
Oh, the powerhouse is 0 for 1 as far as ultimates so far. Hate to see that a little bit from Balls, especially on his classic champion, but get another shot.
That was honestly pretty sloppy from Hui, though. Just the fact that he was tanking that much damage from High, it didn't even require that gank to force out the flash. And you know, he's just kind of underestimating how much damage is actually going to be coming in. He's not building as defensively as he sometimes does. You know, we've seen him go for very early null magic mantles and build advantages.
Definitely true. And High is accruing that CS lead that you expect when your enemy mid laner roams a lot. I mean, Balls had the opportunity a couple times here to go for it, but they really wanted to be able to land it for the execution there instead.
I could be in trouble though, but Moon's going to try and defend him. Cleanses out, Voice of Light gets savage on the 2. Now Smithy going to leap in and take that Moon High. Goes down as well.
Oh, Smithy showing up huge on the Rengar. First ultimate pays off big time, and they can actually get this turret with Afro coming over for the first turret gold.
And that is huge. If they can get first turret gold, they might actually want to funnel it onto Hui to really get that extra roaming power from Aurelion Sol. First goal is just to burn it down low enough, though. And we'll see if Afro
this should be it. Wave's coming. Cannon Creep is here. Looks like first tower is going to go over to CLG. They'll share the gold by the looks of things, but Afro going to get a bit of bonus gold as well from the spell. He actually destroys the turret, so a nice roam there from the bottom lane gives CLG first turret as well.
And Hui is just a guy that you have to keep bringing up for CLG. He's been outstanding for them this split. For someone who got so much flack all of last year, Aurelion Sol definitely being huge for them, and Smithy as well. Talk about, you know, criticism. Rengar was one of the specific champions he was criticized on and got a couple of good empowered Qs off there to secure the kills.
One of the cool things about Hui this year for me is he's always been able to have these big plays and big show-out games, but he's been much more consistent this year. He has rarely been the reason that his team has lost the game, and he still has the carry potential.
Well, looking good so far. Is a little down in CS, but that'll even right back up with the 3 kills that he's gotten and the GLP already finished. So as far as, you know, early itemization, Aurelion Sol's good to go here, and CLG going to start another Drake. Lemonation going to face check a bubble. That's a bad time. Stun isn't quite going to land. The Wildgrowth could protect the ball, though. It's going to root him down, and Smithy nabs a second.
Oof, Lemonation is just getting bubbled over and over here by Afro move. And yeah, Let's see if they get more out of it, actually. Going for the red invade to push Moon out of their bottom quadrant.
Yeah, this is such a good follow-up to that. Move in, get vision, get control over that jungle. You can always retreat back to the dragon to pick that up too.
Yeah, not many people expected CLG to be the ones coming out to such a big early lead versus FlyQuest with what we've seen this season. But man, they are absolutely destroying this game.
And I think for me, a lot of that comes down to, FlyQuest having to change their style a bit. Sure, they like to pick off-the-wall things or having a lot of success on more roaming-style champions. This is a very standard-looking comp for FlyQuest here. And I think for me, the most obvious thing is that Hai just can't get out of this lane. Sure, his lane matchup's going to make that very difficult, but Orianna is not the same champion like the ones that were already banned away, like the Talon, like the Zed.
And Huhi is up to 8 stacks, as well as completed GLP and the extra move speed from those boosts of speed. So this Aurelion Sol, so much success early on, has really fed into it. A Cloud Drake on top of it just makes that spread out roaming game just that much more effective.
FlyQuest are going to start moving around the map, though. They're going to try to avoid some of these losing matchups, start trading turrets, because when you are behind, that's always a win if you can trade even.
Plus, remember, the strengths of the FlyQuest team that they decided to draft here are more when they're able to bring the team together and use the synergy of their shields from the Orianna, from the Lulu, in a team fight scenario. It would be even better if they could get small corridors to be able to land Rumble and Orianna ultimates with as well. See if FlyQuest can actually force CLG into a more advantageous terrain for them to fight in.
Well, it looks like CLG fans are out in force right now. Stixxay going to take another turret down for CLG and make it 2 for 1, picking up some extra gold for himself and the team. CLG up to almost 4,000 gold in the lead, but I do agree that FlyQuest, they have a little bit more time to sort of make things up in the mid to late game. That wasn't how they were finding early success this particular season, but this is a team that can also play a little slower if they have to. In this game, they certainly will.
And one thing I'm going to be pretty interested to track here for Huhi is, after he grabs his Rylai's, which I'm sure he's going to do, will he go into this kind of semi-tank Aurelion Sol? You have a lot of HP already in your build, and then if you pick up a Banshee's Veil against double AP solo laners, you can become very solid in the front line.
Yeah, if his history is any indication, I definitely think he will. He does such a good job transitioning not only the roam game of Aurelion Sol, which a lot of people actually can pull off, but the team fight phase as well. He's really good at zoning within the team fights to create space for Stixxay to put out the real DPS.
You can just be so disruptive when you can get in the middle with all that health and some of the magic resist. Slow people up and really take over.
Well, it looks like Darshan split pushing away. He's had a pretty quiet landing phase, had one dip down towards mid lane, but he's happy in the side lane with his teleport and now a second rank in the ultimate, just kind of chilling out, seeing what happens there.
Plus, the fact of the matter is, Kobe touched on the power spike of balls, getting that early spell penetration. But for Darshan, he wants this Trinity Force before he really gets big. And he's allowed, because of the success of the rest of his team, to quietly farm towards that. And he is getting closer and closer.
Kind of building up a CS lead there as well. Balls, I think, feeling like he has to leave the lane a little more to maybe go try and help his team. Fish onto Balls could start things off here. Darshan is going to get some poke down. Might chase, but doesn't go under the turret. Waiting for Huhi to fly up towards the top lane. Now Balls know what's wrong. Going to equalize the wave, but now Hui's just going to get in there. Balls just doesn't have anywhere to go. Balls flying for the kill. Hui's on a rampage.
Hui is actually just like 1v9ing this game at the moment. A little bit of help from Smithy, but man, yeah, he's 4-0-2, 100% kill participation. Killing all lanes, actually, on the Aurelion Sol.
He has just been everywhere. And top lane, bot lane, quietly farming away. Just let yourselves get carried by Hugi this game. I mean, he has really been a monster.
Well, let's see what FlyQuest continue to do. They're going to try and press their advantage in the bottom lane and get some shoving happening. Hai, I think down towards this bottom lane. Smithy, they're looking for the wraparound. This could be bad news here for FlyQuest. They got 4 people in this bottom brush.
Yeah, they could try and go together, but teleport from Darshan's coming too.
And no shockwave now.
Hunts that up, but Hui's just going to line it up. Elimination goes in. Huge stun there from Hui, and Lemon is going to go down. Ball's going to try and around, but Darshan looking for Moon, going to flip himself out there with a playable trick to Hui. Just moving forward, going to try and take them all out. Balls gets himself exhausted. Sun's going to land him to High on the back end of the fight at CLG. Still going to get another kill. It's an absolute mess, but 4-1 in favor of CLG, and Altec going to try and run it out. Darshan sped up by the bubble, going to look to chase in. Where's the fish? Altec shifts out of the way under the turret, but playful trickster. CLG grab the ace.
It's a CLG classic. You know when CLG's playing, somebody's getting to ace before 20.
Oh my goodness. The 5-member gank down on the bottom side, even though FlyQuest start out with 4 people, CLG able to pull it back very quickly here. And let's take a look at this Ash Arrow to start everything off.
And one of the biggest things here is Shockwave is now down. This allows CLG to fully commit to the fight.
Arrow there was cleansed up, but Huhi with the side flank, and Darshan had that teleport we mentioned at the tri-bush to come in and flank. Then we see them trade as far as frontliners go. Darshan goes out, Huhi goes back in, and even though he goes down, that secures the rest of the commitment from FlyQuest, allowing CLG to pull up the rest of the kills. And this one right here, Darshan getting his R off during that charge where it's very, very difficult to dodge.
One of the powerful things about Fizz as a top laner here too is, while you not be maybe like this huge, massive frontline tank, you're so evasive and you're so disruptive, people have to respect your damage, and when they turn to fight you, you can jump back out with your E.
Nation has the blue buff, by the way, as Huhi was looking to try and steal it. High actually might get chased down. Actually does get stunned. GLP proc. Shockwave's going to find two. Voice of Light, not quite enough, but Darshan going to steal another kill.
I can already see the memes after this game, but the Aurelion Soul for Huhi, needless to say, is showing up very big for CLG. And they are actually just able to close the loop here, taking outer turret and keeping so much pressure on this game. From this point, they get wards in the enemy jungle, they starve out FlyQuest from most of the farm, and it becomes very difficult to mount a comeback.
It really does, especially with Split Bush as a win condition as well for CLG. It's not like they're pigeonholed into an early game win. They have a lot of ways to close out this game, and you know, if you're FlyQuest, you're starting to think about the next one a little bit.
Maybe. I mean, 7,000 gold up almost for CLG, and it hasn't been a slow game from them either. They've pushed the pace consistently, all starting from the mid lane there with Aurelion Soul. Darshan now transfers bottom lane, doesn't have TP, but does protect the turret from maybe going down, and Ocean Drake will be up in 3 seconds if CLG want to continue their monopoly on this objective, and FlyQuest stuck playing defensively, which traditionally has not been their forte.
Oh yeah, no reason for CLG to delay any Drake takes at all. They also saw the dual lane of FlyQuest up on the top side, so easily be able to add this one to the collection.
One thing we do know about FlyQuest, though, is they're not a team that is willing to quietly in tonight. They do not play to not lose, they play to win. So I am looking for them to make a risky play, to try to rush a Baron, to try to commit to a team fight, to get themselves back in the game, or to end it quickly.
That's right. We'll look for plays like FlyQuest grouping up on a control ward in their own territory, looking for one of these defensive bush plays where they can hope for a shockwave into Rumble Ultimate, try and get a very big wombo there if CLG are, you know, able to wander too close to one of their traps.
Well, the current CLG gold lead is, of course, giving them an overall map lead, but those two items that almost everyone has completed now is going to make it troublesome, at least for the next few minutes. Baron is also available if CLG want to look to that at least as a bait, if not something they could take given the size of their lead.
Yeah, and they can look towards that Baron, but this early in the game, it's still risky. You'll take a lot of damage without a true front laner on the Baron, and Rumble plus Orianna in the Baron pit is a good way to throw the game.
Yeah, 7,000 gold lead CLG have to work with here. And as you talked about earlier, Isaac, the 24s coming in for Darshan means that not only is he a threat for 1v1 kills in the side lane, but he can also take a lot of damage to the turrets if he's left unattended.
And I honestly feel like until Balls gets his Zonias, he's always going to be under threat of getting solo killed very easily. You need to be able to Zonias off the fish, do something to deal with that, because Darshan can go in pretty low threat on the dives, and if it starts turning bad, you can always hop back out.
Yep, CLG just playing smart though, taking over this top half of the map, in particular Darshan with the TP back and ready. He's kind of waiting between the jungle. He's coming in. Darshan also going to look for the fish of lands out there. Get that up as well. Smithy tries to go in, but he gets polywalled, but Huhi more than enough damage without the ultimate.
Altec just gets nailed with all the ultimates there, and CLG are going to be able to take mid turret, then maybe even retreat to the Baron you're talking about.
Yeah, and I think with someone down, you could at least threaten it. You can always turn for the fight. You may not want to fully commit to it still, but that was a very well executed collapse from CLG, utilizing their ultimates, catching out the AD carry.
It might even bait FlyQuest in here. FlyQuest kind of have to check. High's going to get caught. Cleanses up the bubble with Darshan, might chase him down. Flashes dash. Shockwave finds a couple, but it's not enough. Azuli grabs the snipe off the flank with Voice of Light. Now Ball's going to get stunned up as well. He's trapped out of the bowler without a Zonias. Now Moon flashes away, but he gets exhausted. Huhi flashes forward to try and seal a few more kills. Moon is going to get orbed down. Hui on a killing spree. Gets another. Going to get one more. A double kill as he takes down Lemon Nation.
Who is this guy? Hui is taking over the game.
Oh my
8-1 and 8.
So much hype around shot calling, shot calling. Hey, Hui is going to take things into his own hands the entire game. I'm everywhere.
Here's the call, Kobe. Hui, carry this.
Hui, go kill everyone on the map.
Definitely a more straightforward game for Afro, but the Baron now attempted for CLG. To Afro's credit, Nami Bubbles have been on point to start off a lot of those early plays, but Hui has certainly been the star of this game. CLG is going to compound all that advantages. Baron is down 10,000 gold ahead, and a giant dragon in the mid lane to play the end game with.
Take another look at this bait we were talking about with the Fog of War setup.
Yeah, I mean, hitting the bubble, it's a fast cleanse from high, but the full pile-in, Hui
tight.
over the wall, that was beautiful.
All right, then he comes in here to secure the extra ones as they chase down balls. Flashes are answered immediately there, and the Rylai's is enough slow for him to get both Lemon and Moon.
And that's why this champion, when you get ahead, is one of the most oppressive champions in the game.
Oh, here we go again.
Chasing you down.
It's Lemon Nation once more. Dashang going to zip on and fish down Moon. Lemon still getting chased and gets blown up by Hui. Moon going to flash out of the way. Shockwave finds two, but it's a tankier members as Smithy jumps in onto balls on the right-hand side. Altec moving in to try and defend for his team. CLG, one more kill.
And with that kill, they can continue the push. They can force down these turrets with the Baron.
Yeah, there's like, minions, catch up to us. CLG are way ahead of all the waves. They got to go back and push them. Even though they have Baron buff, they're going to have to go usher those minions up the lanes before they can actually get into the base.
Tashawn has him advised now as well. If you kind of want an idea of mentally well CLG are feeling this game is, I mean, they are so far ahead with 18 kills to 1 now, knocking down this mid outer turret. At least going to get a look in high. He's going to take down that cannon creeper. Another wave's coming, and CLG have Baron for 2 more minutes.
One of the toughest parts about this for FlyQuest is they're not even really being given the opportunity to set up a play because CLG is non-stop going in on them.
Well, that's a dead Lulu. Once again, Lemon Nation adds death number 7 to this game. Who he going to take down the bottom tier 2 turret, and CLG starting to close the trap.
I'm interested actually already what is going through the FlyQuest communication systems. Right now, though, we're going to have a dive.
Smithy looking for high. High just going to play defensively as Hui just going to blow.
Oh,
Gets through that with a double. Voice of Light just blows up 2 members of FlyQuest and force Altac's splash. Mid lane now going to be broken. Redemption going to reset the game, and CLG going to look to end it.
Yeah, I think the look is pretty convincing here from CLG.
All right, looks like this is going to get a few more kills. There's Altec going down. Hui goes legendary for his 12th kill of the game. 20 kills in 22 for Hui, and CLG destroy FlyQuest in game number 1.
25 minutes in, game 1 closed out by CLG, and Hui puts on one of the best playoff performances I have seen in a long time.
It was a test. They're saying, you know what? Game 1 draft, let's play nice and safe. Hui, we know you've got this Aurelion Soul. Can he still play it? Hui's answer, yes, I can. Thank you for the win.
I'll give you 3 guesses what can that game.
Yeah, Aurelion Soul probably going to find himself in the ban phase moving forward. And talking about that ban phase, I was already curious a little bit about if FlyQuest start to go down in games in this series, will that be the thing that pulls the trigger for them to actually reach a little bit deeper into the pool and bring out something that maybe they've had success in scrims, but people haven't seen quite yet?
And I mean, if this is your head-to-head game, right, that can shake your confidence. That can make you feel like, hey, we need to try something risky.
And this is a team where, they didn't have a house until a couple weeks into the season, and they actually don't have a lot of analysts or anything. So a lot of it comes from High and Lemon Nation specifically and just what they are feeling at the moment.
Well, going to have to dive back into the notebook, but for more on that dominating win from CLG, let's hand it off to the analyst desk.
Thank you very much, Pastry. We got some, not a ton though, because I feel like most people, and they've already spoken to it there, will say that the biggest adjustment FlyQuest should make moving into Game 2 here is get rid of the Aurelion Soul. But how do we feel about the fact that it was left up here even in Game 1?
Personally, I don't hate it because there's a lot of times you see in best-of-5 series where people just assume that they play this one thing that they don't want to play against, and you spend the entire series banning this thing out, and then you find out later, like, yeah, we weren't really practicing that anymore. And there have been times in the regular season where Aurelion Soul was left open, and they didn't play it necessarily. So
right.
I don't hate the fact that they didn't want to give up a ban, essentially, for the entire series on this hunch that he still is going to crush you with Aurelion Soul. But now that you've seen it, maybe, yeah.
I slightly disagree because I feel like it's Hui, man. This guy,
I mean, yeah.
his name is becoming synonymous with Aurelion Soul. He's the guy that everybody's like, oh, it's a really great champion when it's in his hands.
And that's the gamble, right? Is to your point where it's like, well, we haven't seen, we know, historically, we know you're right, Zyrene. Historically, we know you're right, but you kind of want that recency. You want that element of recency and that confirmation that this is something that's still worthwhile to ban. So yeah, okay, we ban it here in game 1. Hopefully they learn from it, and as you mentioned, it is removed from the table for the remainder of the series. But let's talk about the effectiveness of this champion and why it works so well for CLG. I mean, we see immediately at level 1, leaving the lane. Vision toggles are going to be key here in showing why it is that there's so much more pressure applied to the map when Aurelion Sol's in the game.
Yeah, because he can just leave because he shoves automatically, and then he's able to just have wave pressure. We talk about priority a whole bunch, and Aurelion Sol naturally does that. Doesn't even have to spend mana to do it, but he will with the Celestial Expansion to deal extra damage to it. But then also a lot of people overlook his E passive, which is if he's moving in a straight line, he gets extra movement speed if he's traveling in the same direction. It helped him avoid a gank at level 3. It helps him roam even faster. This kit is just designed to roam and allow somebody like Huhi, who loves to give his resources away, to actually do that.
And this play is great because how do you stop the Aurelion Sol from roaming? Well, you throw gank at it, kill him. He can't roam if he's dead. But what happens? CLG is 100% aware of that. Smithy playing around mid lane turns a counter gank, and that was kind of the moment where it's like, oh god, this Aurelion Sol, maybe you can control it 2-0, now it's over.
Similar to how you play against Shen.
Yeah. But also, they tried that at level 3, and then Huhi's out of mana, and he had to flash, and then they didn't repeat gank it fast enough, and he's able to get out of the lane and affect other lanes.
And that is one of the problems, though, is like with Aurelion Sol, his timings are so hard to abuse because he resets all the time because he has like you said, the E move speed to get back into lane faster. So if you chunk him out, you can't necessarily...
happy to back.
Yeah, he'll just go home and come back. And so it's very hard to deal with this champion if you're not 100% ready for it and have a game plan prepared. And it did seem like FlyQuest struggled for anything that he was going to do.
And then on top of all of this, I think that once again, this game only serves to make kind of clear the idea that both of these teams with leads know how to play. So this time around, CLG gets the early gold lead. What happens? 17:45 into the game. We have an ace in the bot lane, 5 for 1 off of a big roam here from CLG.
And FlyQuest has been moving around the map trying to find opportunities to trade objectives. They were able to trade down the top row of turrets, but now they're extended in the long lane. You see the teleport coming in from Darshan from behind. They try and turn and cut the play by jumping onto the bot lane of CLG. With that shockwave, and then because Huhi already has that angle, Darshan, you see, complete this teleport coming in the backside. There's nowhere for them to try and get out here. A great collapse by CLG. Going to end up in an ace after Huhi kind of chases everyone down.
Yeah, he got so fed. Even before this, this is kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back, because that's where FlyQuest are just trying to get back into the game.
Right, that was definitely a
shred of hope. And I definitely think that's the one where you kind of put that final nail in the coffin there. It's the only kill that I believe Huhi missed out on.
Yeah, it doesn't get an assist for that one because he unfortunately died earlier in that fight, but an impressive scoreline from him as well as the damage stats there. I mean, essentially doubling, tripling everyone on his own team.
Almost the same amount as you add up the rest of the damage from his team. Almost. Not quite.
Okay, so we've identified the fact that we think FlyQuest should keep Aurelion Sol off the table for the remainder of the series. Also, they will have the option of side choices here in games 2 and 4, so we'll see what they end up with. Maybe putting High in a counter pick position might allow for a better mid lane.
But if you got something for it, like, that's the thing, is Aurelion Sol, when around Worlds time, it was like, what do you even do against this guy? Like, if you person's practiced on it, there aren't a whole lot of counters that people had found at the time. Maybe Syndra, maybe Echo, but
I mean, the big thing about the Aurelion Sol pick is that it's kind of uninteractive in the sense where it just pushes the lane and then leaves. You don't 1v1 it. You don't, skirmish
hard to outplay it.
Yeah, it kind of pushes the wave, and then you either, if you're fighting it, your wave is gone, and now you have to deal with minions, or if you're dealing minions, then he's just going to leave. So it is a little hard.
The other thing, too, is I felt like Aurelion Sol was just an ultra good pick in this situation because it was into double AP, right? We've got High in the mid lane on Orianna, and then we got Rumble in the top lane. Well, what is Aurelion Sol? Already builds tanky in terms of health. Loves to pick up that Banshee's Veil as well as like a second or third item even sometimes, and that's super effective against the double AP on FlyQuest.
Which is just a testament to the draft from Counter Logic Gaming. When they last picked the Aurelion Sol, they had already banned Talon and Zed because they saw the Rumble pick. When somebody picks Rumble, you expect Talon, Zed, Jace, still left up, wasn't picked, but that would be the other one that you expect to come through the mid lane. So they were able to kind of pinch a double AP composition and force that out of FlyQuest.
All right, big notes here for game 2, get Aurelion Sol off the table, but other than that, I feel like FlyQuest just needs to wipe game 1 from their minds, right? You can't put too much stock in what happened there. One pick goes off, and then you made a couple stabs, get back in the game, you lost quickly, cool, move on.
Yeah, and can I also say, like, this is where Huhi, there's a whole bunch of, like, preconceived notions about this guy that he's not a good player, he's not a star player. When he has performances like that, I don't think you can't call him a star on that team. He's been performing well all split long, but people still have that kind of notion that he's not a good player.
He's a star when he's on the Star Dragon.
Screw you, freak.
That was only one day of the series. When we return, we'll see if FlyQuest can tie the series up or if CLG jumps out to a 2-game lead. Stick around.
Why are you gonna do that to me?
No, dude, you said it. I was like,
I was smiling.
This is a pretty volatile team. They will want to dictate the pace of the game like on their terms. So what that means is let's just make sure that we focus on our play, focus on the win condition, and let's not fight their fights.
Oh, here he comes to get the
good
bubble.
bubble there. Lemon Nation could be in trouble. Hui going to roam his way down. Lemon Nation is going to be first blood there. Goes over to Hui. I could be in trouble though, but Moon's going to try and defend him. Cleanses up. Voice of Light gets savage on the 2. Now Smithy going to leap in and takes out Moon high. Goes down as well.
Play slow, play slow, play slow.
Ori, I got both. Lulu. I'm coming. Blink, Kha'Zix. Take it slow, Got it. Ori flash, Ori flash. I feel. Ori flash. Yeah, go Jay, I feel. I ignited Rebel. Yeah.
Play defensively as Hui just going to blow. Oh, gets through that with a double. Voice of Light just blows up 2 members of FlyQuest. 20 kills in 22 for Hui, and CLG destroy FlyQuest in game number 1.